Today we're going to talk about the price of fame. And are you selling your soul when you get to the highest level, especially when it comes to UFC and WWE, because that's what the biggest stars are right now. Hey, what's going on, fight fans? Hey, this is Coach D, the Wild Man, coming at you again with another episode of Coach D Media. Now, you know I do with Coach D Media. I talk about all things combat sports related, from the highs to the lows. All right, let's go ahead and get back into it. Today, we're going to talk about the price of fame. And are you selling your soul when you get to the highest level, especially when it comes to UFC and WWE, because that's what the biggest stars are right now. So today we're going to talk about two of our biggest stars that ever came out of the UFC, which was Ronda Rousey and Conor McGregor. Now, they're both relevant because they're still doing their daggone things. You still see them popping up on social media. Ronda Rousey just left the WWE and she had her things to say. Conor McGregor just finished his movie and he's talking about coming back to the UFC. So let's go ahead and get into it. What's the price of all this, of being just this big, just this famous with this much money? First off, there's nothing in this life that is free. Everything has a price, right? If you're not willing to pay that price, you're not going to be as famous as you think you want to be. There's always a cost. Somebody has to get paid if you're on somebody else's platform. If you're self-made, you build your own business, you do your own thing, and you make your own money, you're a self-made person. Can't nobody tell you shit. But if you are made because you're on somebody else's platform, like the UFC, there's a cost for that, especially if that guy who's running the ship is Dana White. As you just saw, he runs the show. He just beat this lawsuit. He don't pay these guys off. It's back to business as usual, which meant him running and putting his foot on everybody's daggone neck, right? So let's talk about Ronda Rousey first, right? Back in the day when she came into the UFC, she was the next big thing. She was a judo gold medalist. She was in the Olympics, yada, yada, yada. She was beating up everybody, right? And she was pretty, brown hair, looking good, and can scrap, right? Grew up the ranks real fast, undefeated, became the big thing, right? Arguably getting paid as much as the biggest stars like John Jones and all the guys at that time. And she was running her mouth talking that shit, right? She was like, yeah, I'm as bad as thing popping and all that kind of good stuff. But over time, the pressure of being a star began to get to her. Now she was avoiding media. She wasn't talking to nobody. She let all this fame go to her head. She figured she could dictate where she went. And for the most part, she could, right? As long as she was doing it for the UFC, she was fine. Nope, Dana White didn't say shit, right? But now she's so popular and so famous, now she wants to do movies. She was in a lot of Expendables as Billy the Badass and all the kind of good stuff. Now she goes, look, do I need the UFC as much? Dana White says, yes, you mother effing do. Because she wasn't fighting as long as she was doing movies. She was doing other stuff. She was doing her media tour, all that kind of good stuff. She wasn't fighting, right? So Dana White said, get your ass back into the daggone cage and fight, right? So she fought Holly Holmes. No, was it Nunes first? I think she fought Amanda Nunes first. I think that was first, and she got the brakes beat off her, right? Matter of fact, don't get me the lying. Let me look it up right quick, right? Because like I said, when she came back, and she had to, put up or shut up, that's when the shit went crazy. All right, let me look at that right quick because I was not sure. Right, give me 1 second. 1 second. See when you're not prepared, right? You gotta go digging up shit now. So her overall record is 12-2 in the UFC, right? So nope, take it back. It was Holly Holmes first. So she was undefeated up to that point, right? She fought Beth Carrera or whoever that is, August 1st, 215. Then she came back. No, I'll take that back. Okay, she didn't take no break. She was doing movies and all that crap at the same time she was still fighting. Okay, she was She was getting it in. She was getting it in. All right. So she had to defend her belt against Holly Holmes. You know how that went. Head kick knockout. It was a wrap, right? She was all done, right? Then I think either Holly Holmes fought Nunes or whatever how that went down. But Nunes had the belt, another title shot, right? Nunes knocked her the hell out, beat the shit out of her, right? So beat up all the way around. You know how it went down. Like I said, you can look at the record and see what's going on. But where I'm going with this is that all that fame was really going to her head. So look, right? She did her butt naked ESPN model shoot. You know what I'm saying? You know, who talks you into go? First of all, when you're making all that money and you're famous and you're popular and you can dictate what you do, who tells you to go butt naked? That's my first thing, right? Who tells you to go butt naked, right? If you think butt naked builds your brand higher than it already is, right? As being somebody who's beat up everybody, her record's 12-2. She's beating everybody. Everybody was singing her praises. You know, women can do it too. You know, women empowerment, all that kind of good stuff. She had it all. But in that flow, she got butt naked, right? It happens, right? This the game we in. Things begin to change. Now, all of a sudden, right, she ain't in the right headspace. Some people saying she mentally going crazy, right? She had that going on. Come to find out now, she's been fighting with concussions, right? She had ups and downs with concussions, all the kind of good stuff. That's why she had to retire from the UFC. She went to the WWE. WWE was already partnered up with your UFC. So behind the scenes, it was an easy transition. It wasn't like she had to jump through hoops to get to the UFC. They were already in bed together. They were just finalizing deals. So now she's over in the WWE doing the Ronda Rousey potty, you know, Ronda Piper situation where now she's the daughter of Potty Piper or whatever the hell. You know what I'm saying? His name drawing a blank, but you get where I'm going. So that was her mystique for a while. She was doing good, from what I could see, right? Making decent money, still on top of the game, still up there, still doing her daggone thing, right? But now, with Vince McMahon, with all the crap he going through, now she got a tell-all book out there, right? She says she's done with WWE, right? The way they treat women, talking about Vince McMahon and a couple other guys on there, right? She says she's done, right? She said it's a shit show over there too. So now everywhere you go is a shit show. She can't go back to the UFC, right? Because she got a problem with concussions, right? She's done with the WWE. So now what? You see the price of fame, right? She could have took her money and went to the house. She was making millions. She's making millions. She could have been on a media tour, get on TED Talk, talk about the success of being a woman. Oh, she could have done a whole bunch of stuff. But if all she know is fighting, ain't too much more you can go. She went from judo to the UFC, from the UFC to WWE, all physical, right? Not too much mental. So now she's tired of it all. She's gonna do a book, right? But at the end of the day, right? Fame has cost her a lot, right? No matter where you go, you got problems. That's because you're famous. When you're famous, you think you're entitled to shit, right? But when you don't run the show, right? It don't matter how much money you're making. If you're making 10 million, the daggone company you work for is making 100 million, right? So you're not really making the money you think you're making. You're just making good money compared to the average Joe. But compared to these big companies, you ain't making shit. They're the ones who making all the money, right? Because you're the brand, you're the property, you're the product. They're selling you to the masses. They're selling you to fans like me, right? That's all it comes down to. Are people tuning in to watch you, right? You go, yeah, I'm the star, so I should deserve more money. No, the lights come on because they put you in front of the camera. Somebody else puts you in front of the camera. You're not going into the camera on your own. Somebody else has the camera that you're getting in front of. Now, if you did stuff from the house, like a lot of people were doing one with OF, they're making their own money with their own camera. They can run their mouth, go, look, I'm empowered, right? Because they're doing it themselves. But when you have to walk on somebody else's stage in order to get people to see you, that's a whole different story. And that's what people get jacked up at, right? You're not the star you think you are if you're not doing it on your own. If you didn't become the star yourself, if somebody didn't pave the way and make a platform for you to be a star, that's where you get jacked up. Because now you want to dictate terms. Now you want to go, hey, this is what I'm trying to do. I want this. And when somebody who pulls your strings, somebody who cuts your checks, somebody who opens the doors and make the lights cut on, right, goes, no, you can't do that shit. Do what I tell you to do. Now you got a problem. Now you got a problem. Now you're like, no, I'm being mistreated, all the kind of good stuff. No, you got a contract to do what I tell you to do. That's when people get confused. You are owned by the agreement of your contract to the people who cut the lights on, right? Sorry to say it like that, but that's the reality of it. So if you get jacked up and you get effed up in this game, right, and you wonder why things went wrong, because you went off script. When you go off script, nobody's trying to hear it. If you hear Dana White talk, he says, the ones who stay, who pick up the phone when I call, them the one I pay attention to. If you don't pick up the phone when I call, F you. I'm keeping receipts. I'll pay you like that. So when it comes time for me to F you, that's like what I'm going to do. When it's time for me to F you over, I'm going to do it. And he never fails. He never fails to F somebody over when he thinks he getting it back. Plain and simple. Right? But Ronda Rousey's still in the contract. I'm pretty sure she's still in the contract with the UFC. That's why she can go come and plead. And nobody's saying nothing because she's still on the contract. When they're talking about her and Brock Lesnar coming back to UFC 300, they're still on the contract. They can do that. Then everybody can go, look, bring your ass back in here so you can make an appearance. But you're going to say, no? You on the contract. You can retire all you want. But if you're going to step back into the spotlight, that's if somebody gives you permission to do so. All right. So now we know. All right. Let's talk about Conor McGregor. Right. You remember how when Conor McGregor came down? You know, he came in right to the UFC, knocking everybody out, calling his shots, talking noise, talking shit. Press conferences be freaking wild, talking about people's, wives, religions, you name it. Conor McGregor going in it. Right. So he was a hot topic for a good little bit. Right. Then things began to change. He started getting his ass whooped thanks to Nate Diaz. When Nate Diaz choked out Conor McGregor and shook up the world, right? Not only did Nate Diaz become even more famous and popular than ever because of that, but that was the shift in the unbeatable Conor McGregor, right? So now he came back and he got that one back because it went to the judges and they said, hey, it's our golden ticket. He has to win, so he won, right? But now from there, right? Everybody know he's beatable. Bit by bit, he started getting beat, Freaking, Dustin Poirier beat him, broke his ankle. You know what I'm saying? The decline happened. Khabib choked him out. Right? Now, he's very beatable. So he ain't the unbeatable person he was. By then, he was $100 million man. He done fought Floyd Mayweather, did a huge press tour, almost around the world, made tons of money for himself in the UFC. Brought out with some liquor, all that kind of good stuff. But look how many allegations he don't have. You know what I'm saying? Always up for another allegation, right? Say he messed with this chick, messed with that chick, beating up people, punching people in the bar, throwing dollars, yada, yada, kept going on and on and on and on and on. He had to do more to keep his fame going. He couldn't just be a great fighter that everybody loves. He had the people in the narratives. People had to find reasons to talk stories about him, right? He's always doing something else that gets people to clickbait and talk about him. It had nothing to do with fighting, right? He's more popular for the bullshit than he is for fighting, right? But still maintaining, right? Now, here we are in 2024. He did this movie, Roadhouse. I saw it. It's not bad. It's the going standard in today's marketplace. I'm not saying it's woke. It's not woke. It's not all that other nonsense. It's just, action, fights, okay story based off the original. It's nowhere near the original. The original is still top dog, right? But that's okay for this new generation that knows Conor as he is, not Conor at the beginning. So it's not bad. I'll give it a C. I'll give it a C. It's okay. It's okay. Right? But now it's time for him to come back to the UFC. So before, while he was making the movie, he was like, look, I'll come back here. I'll do this when I want to. I'll decide. They were like, no, you don't decide shit. We want you back here. We want you to do this. We want you to do that. Couldn't come to no agreements. Nothing's happening, right? Now, all this time, Francis Ngannou's doing big stuff, right? Now, freaking Conor McGregor go, look, if Francis Ngannou can go box, how come I can't go box again, right? Getting right, says, nope, come back to the UFC, right? That problem going on. So you see, it never stops, right? Just when you think you on top, the ones who made you reminds you I made you, right? Say what you want to say. You're under contract. I cut the lights on. I opens the door. You're in front of my camera. You are not star on your own, right? People talk about you because they see you based off what camera I put you in front of. But now you're big enough. You can do your own podcast. You can do whatever, but you're still under contract. Your podcast wouldn't be shit if you weren't in front of my camera first. That's what people forget. That's what people forget. Whoever cutting the lights on, whoever keeps the lights on, calls the shots. Don't get it twisted. That's why Dana White can do what he's doing. Because he calls the shots, right? Never think that you are on your own when somebody else is paying the bills and cuts your checks, right? Don't get me wrong, Conor making his own money, but where did that money start? The UFC. So let's call it what it is. That's the bottom line of it. We don't got to like it, and most of us don't like it. That's where the lawsuit came from. But what can you do about it? Because somebody else cuts the checks. Now we have the overall story of Ronda Rousey and Conor McGregor. Now, look like Conor McGregor going through some stuff. Some saying he have alcohol problems. Some people saying he have a drug problem. I don't know if it's true or not, but they're asking what is wrong with Conor because the price of fame is high. To keep being on top, to keep getting people to tune in, to keep people getting paid attention, to get people calling your name and screaming your name and all the kind of good stuff, that's a drug that most people can't handle. Because you're always looking for the next fix of somebody screaming your name. It gets crazy at sometimes, right? When you're no longer grounded and you think you so high above everybody else, that effing fall down to reality sucks. It effing sucks, right? Then you look like, God dang it, what the hell going on with me? I'm catching the hell, right? So you've seen the problems Ronda Rousey has. You've seen the problems Conor McGregor's having. Right? Their minds can't seem to deal with all the fame and the money and all that kind of good stuff because at the end of the day, they're average people who did great stuff and people were able to make money off them and all that kind of good stuff. But at the end of the day, they weren't made for the shit they're in. They weren't made to be stars. They just became one. Right? So when the pressure's on, average people can't always handle it. That's why people who win the lottery make so much money and they go broke within the next couple of years because they're not used to having all that money. So there's no different in fame and popularity. It's no different, right? But then you have the guys like The Rock. Why is The Rock so successful? Seems to ever to handle everything. Seems to keep on going, make more money, see everything. He's got over 40 million followers or whatever the hell it is, right? He got a huge $1 billion production. He can do whatever he wants to do, right? Because he's a prick. He grew up under Vince McMahon. Under the UFC. He's seen how it was run. He's seen behind the scenes. They groomed him for the position he's in. He even said on an interview, his dad said, I don't want you in this game because it eats you alive. And he talked about how his dad ended up, drinking, something that had to do with divorce from his mom, all that kind of good stuff. So there wasn't a good outcome for his dad. But for The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, turned out pretty good because he bought into the system. Conor McGregor didn't buy into the system. Ronda Rousey didn't buy into the system. They bought into being famous and making money as an athlete, thinking they made it on their own. That they did this. That they're there because of them. They're successful because of them. The Rock knows he's successful because of the platforms he were on, which is WWE and Vince McMahon. That's how he got where he's at. And he fully knows it. And he embraced it. So he did whatever he had to do to make sure he gets where he needs to go. He'll sell out whoever he had to sell out. He'll shortchange whoever he had to shortchange. He'll wear what he has to wear. He'll say what he has to say. Right? There's videos with him wearing a dress, all that kind of good stuff. It's all out there. He bought into the system. He sold his soul into the system. Conor McGregor and Ronda Rousey didn't. They tried to capitalize on the system, but they didn't sell their soul to the system. That's the difference, right? That's why the Rockers walk around like everything is cool and he's able to do what he's going to do. He's part of the system that gets you to do what you want to do as long as you follow the rules of the system, right? Now look where he's at, right? Vince McMahon needed to go. For whatever reason, Vince McMahon needed to go. So they said, look, you ain't going to jail. Ain't nothing happening. You just not on this board no more. Sell your stocks for $400 million or whatever it was. Go somewhere and sit down, right? As soon as he wasn't even out the door yet, because Rock comes in, gets a board seat, right? Gets his name and likeness back from the WWE. So now he owns his own name and likeness, which is probably the buy-in, right? For him to do what the hell he's done. And now he's on the board of TKO, right? So now he's the ones calling the shots, running the show, putting his thumb and boot on everybody else because he's part of the system at that level now. He was fine. But like I said, you see Rock ain't never been touched, right? All kind of allegations. Look how he did with his shoe in the UFC. Didn't nobody even get paid. At least Reebok and Venom gave you some kind of check. You know what I'm saying? It may have been a bullshit check, but at least he gave you some kind of check. The Rock put a shoe out there and ain't give you shit. He said, you ain't getting nothing for this shoe, but you better goddamn wear it. You see what I'm saying? That's the difference. When you buy into the system, you can do what you want to do in the lines of that system. Don't F with nobody. Don't cross no lines. Say what I tell you to say. If you don't know what to say, shut your mouth up. Like the interview with Joe Rogan, he didn't say shit on the Joe Rogan podcast. He just talked about nothing because he knew he couldn't say anything because Joe Rogan will pull it out you and then you're in trouble, right? Then you on the carpet, right? You want to be on the carpet of the system, right? So now Rock's fine because he's part of the system. Ronda Rousey and Conor McGregor's not. That's why they have the problems. That's why the headaches. That's why the stress. That's all the kind of good stuff. Even though you got tons of money, right? And you're famous and you're popular on somebody else's carpet, on somebody else's dime, on somebody else's show, on somebody else's platform, not your own. You didn't make it on your own. If you made it on your own, then you're your own person. If you build your own business, you're your own person. If all the money you scrape together to build what you built, you're your own person. If somebody paved the way for you to do it and you're under contract when you do it, you belong to them. And that's why Dana White is saying, bring your ass here. When we say bring your ass here, that's why 1 week, Conor McGregor talking shit, right? F the UFC, F Dana, I'm tired of the bullshit, blah, 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 blah. A week later on freaking Ariel Helwani's show, he's like, yeah, I'm doing good. Can't wait to get back. I'm going to call my shot. Gonna get back to the UFC, fight Michael Chandler. It's all good. The movie was great, yada, yada, yada. All kind of talking randomly about nothing, right? See what I'm saying? Big switch because he got his strings pulled. It is what it is, fight fans, right? We can say what we want to say. We can think it's something different. You can think you're special until you test it. Till you run your daggone mouth and test it and find out it ain't what you think it is. When they come for you, they come for you. Look how many skeletons Dana White got in his closet after this daggone class action suit. All the ones that came at him, right? At the end of the day, they get a little piece of check, but they still didn't get what they was trying to get. They had to shut it down. So at the end of the day, Dana White's still the winner, right? Because you signed with him in the UFC. You signed the contract. You didn't build your own platform and then did something, right? You had to go to somebody else in order to get what you was looking to get. So when you wanted your likeness, to be your likeness, nope. When you wanted to be able to make money off your likeness and your name, nope. You see what I'm saying? We give you what you get. When you want your own sponsors, right, under the UFC and show it under there, nope. All the things you was trying to get, couldn't get it because you signed with Dana White and the UFC. Period. That's the name of the game. You don't run what you think you run when somebody else cuts your checks. As long as you understand that, you'll be fine. As long as you understand that, you're not free to do and say what you want to say. You can think you can. You can hope you can. You can give it a shot. Look at Sean Strickland, right? Sean Strickland was on his road to being whatever. He had the belt, talking noise, running his mouth, right? Lost the belt. Now Dana White said, shut up. Keep your mouth shut. Blah, 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 blah. Now he's going crazy talking about hurting people, right? He losing his freaking mind because when they pull that rug out from under you, you realize you ain't shit. And Sean Strickland knew. He knew it was bullshit. The belt don't mean nothing. His position don't mean nothing. So he gonna say and do what he want to do. And don't get me wrong, he's popular, but how long will it last? Because you got to keep fighting. You got to keep your name up. You got to keep winning, right? You got to have other opportunities to join, to making money, which I don't think he has. He don't shit it on everybody. All the people you ain't supposed to shit on, he don't shit on. The alphabet people, the trans community, right? The Bud Light situation, right? All that stuff, right? Where you gonna go? All you got is the UFC. Best you can do is file out your contract. Hope you can retire. Hope you can get cut loose or start to lose on a regular basis. And Dana White will get rid of you. By then, you're done, right? Ain't no upside when somebody else cut your checks. Especially when it's Dana White. When Dana White got a hold of you, he got you. He got you. It's almost like that crossroads. When you make the deal with the devil, right? You think you're doing something till that check, till that bill becomes due, right? So what is the price of your soul? That's the question. How much is your soul worth? Right? Everybody got a price. Let's find out what yours is. Right? That's all I got. You see, it was pretty good. A lot to cover. Right? I made some mistakes here and there. You see it, pick it out, tell me. It is what it is. All right? This is Coach D. Doing what I'm doing. Calling it like I see it. Talking my share of shit. Till you hear from me again. Peace out.